Hallelujah. Praise God. I said praise God.
Hallelujah.
Bring the basket here. Oh, he's there. Bring the basket here. Is she not hearing English? Yeah. Put it here. Now listen. If you are too angry to let the money that you are dropping in this envelope go, keep the offering. Keep your money. But dance before God. If you don't want to release the offering, keep it. And since some people, their eyes is like, this money is going on. So even if you have dropped your offering, you will dance past here. We'll see you. Oh yeah.
Kábíyèsí o, Hosanna o, Jésù Kristi, ọba àìkú. Kábíyèsí o, Hosanna o, Jésù Kristi.
Usher, direct us now.
Ẹgbẹ́ bàbá ga, ẹgbẹ́ ga. Ẹ̀yin Jésù o, ẹ̀yin Jésù o, ẹ̀yin Jésù Kristi, ọba àìkú. Ẹgbẹ́ Olúwa ga, ẹgbẹ́ ga. Ẹ̀yin Jésù o, ẹ̀yin Jésù Kristi, ọba àìkú. Jésù dá ṣẹ̀kẹ̀ṣẹ̀kẹ̀ mi, ó kú ó sọ mí dáláyé, ẹ̀jẹ̀ rẹ̀ iyebíye ló fi rà mí padà. Jésù dá Jésù dá ṣẹ̀kẹ̀ṣẹ̀kẹ̀ mi, ó kú ó sọ mí dáláyé, ẹ̀jẹ̀ rẹ̀ iyebíye ló fi rà mí padà.
and Savior, we want to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity you gives unto us to be able to come in appreciation. Thank you for, it is a worthy of celebration, your resurrection. We are grateful to you. Take all glory and honor in the name of Jesus. We have brought our offering, our thanksgiving offering, and even our tithes before you. Lord, we ask that you will receive them in the name of Jesus. We ask concerning us that all will be well in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Spirit of God. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord, somebody. I said, praise the Lord, somebody. How many of you are glad this morning? How many of you are glad this morning? How many of you are glad this morning? The Bible says, I was glad when they say, let us go into the house of the Lord. And you are in the house of the Lord this morning. If you know you are glad this morning, shout a shout of victory. God bless you. Once again, I want to say Happy Easter Sunday. You know, like what one of our apostles admonished us this morning when he was exhorting us by the word. He said, if the devil had known that Christ will rise up again, he wouldn't have crucified him. So I will add to that the devil is short-sighted. The devil is what? Is short-sighted. Praise the name of the Lord. No wonder he will entice with those temporary things that you will enjoy now, and before you know it, you start suffering again. Praise the name of the Lord. Get connected to Christ, and I pray that that will be your portion in the name of Jesus. I want to welcome everyone to the house of unparalleled blessings, where grace intercedes with lives. Our vision, of course, is to raise a new generation for greatness. Our mission is by the word of grace, making greatness possible, like the one that we have heard this morning by our pastor. The pastor was on point this morning. Can we give him a round of applause? That was a great one. More grace, Pastor. We gather here every Wednesday and Sunday to come and worship our King, even as we are celebrating him, today being the day of resurrection. Every Sunday, like what we are experiencing now, by 8:15, we start with Sunday school and the workers in training and believers class. Then by 9 a.m. proper is our greatness service like the one we are experiencing now. Then on Wednesday, which is the meat of the matter, where we came to dissect the word of God, in full details, where we come to learn how we can lead our lives through the lead pastor of this church. And at the moment, we are looking at a wonderful series which is titled Gaining Victory in Life. Praise the Lord. Praise the name of the Lord. We also want to encourage everyone to join the support as we build the sanctuary for the Lord. Please be a part of it. If you have pledged, make sure that you redeem your pledge. It is a wise thing to build for the Lord. It is a wise thing. Tell your neighbor that it's a wise thing to build for God. Because God will always keep those records. And when God starts blessing you, you will be surprised at what have I done. Make sure you be a part. Praise the Lord. Please, I would like to ask you to ask your neighbor, ask them what's happening next week Sunday. Can you please reply? What's happening? Super Sunday. That's why it's super. So next week we'll be having our Super Sunday, titled 3 John 2. Do you know that God meant well for you? God meant well for you. That's why he said that I wish above all that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospereth. So for you to know more about that, next week Sunday we'll be having a renowned man of God in the person of Reverend Tony Akiemi. He'll be coming to teach us how we can prosper on all all dimensions, physically, spiritually, financially, all dimensions, make sure you come. And don't come alone. Don't be selfish. Make sure you tell someone that that day is going to be great. And I pray that God will give you that grace in the name of Jesus. Wedding bells, celebration, wedding bells. I can feel the sound, that noise from this angle. Wow. Yeah, our brother will be getting married to, our brother Akinola Edward will be getting married to Omobalenle Esther Popola. They will be joined in solemnization of holy matrimony this week, Saturday the 27th April, at the Apostolic Church, First Act Town, right? The address will be communicated to you for as many. Please let us make sure that we rally around. Okay, it's beside LC Center, First Act Town. That is 4th/7th Avenue Junction, right? Beside LC Center, First Act Town. The time is 11 a.m. Please let us make sure we support our own. That's the man, the saxophone. Can you please stand up so that people can recognize you? Yeah, that's the man. And I pray that the Lord will bless your marriage in the name of Jesus. So for as many of us that are yet to get married, the Lord will do your own too in Jesus' name. Just make sure that you celebrate with them that are rejoicing. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the name of the Lord. All right, quickly, feel free to take advantage of our church application on the Play Store. Share your testimony, make your financial contribution, listen to those messages like this one that was just ministered to us now. Listen to them, then follow us on all our social media handles at RCCG The Hub. Praise the name of the Lord. With a standing ovation and with Jesus oil and a clap offering, let us welcome the lead pastor to the podium.
Hallelujah. Praise God. Thank you so much. Let's be seated. God bless you in Jesus' name. When they say we should stand up, some of us sat down. So if you sat down then, you know you are before God. You are stand. Now what I try to do is when they give instruction from the altar, let's just obey, notwithstanding what they ask us to do. You understand? So it's not really about me, it's about the instruction that comes out. If the instruction says you should clap, then what do you do? Okay. If the instruction says you should dance, what do? You dance. Okay, so these are an instruction. Smile. Praise God. So Pastor Ben was praying a prayer the other time. He said, those that are not yet married, God will do your own too. I was not saying no. You should do, God will do our own too. As many of us, okay. I just wanted to be sure I heard you correctly. So on Saturday, we will be at First Act, and my son will get married. Who told you it does not pay to serve God? It's a lie. It pays to serve God. So, by the time he comes to church on Sunday, he comes as a married man. This church now, we should have where married people sit. Just on a lighter mood anyway. Praise God. Now, the ushers will give us this ambil. Everybody will have 5-5. Now, let me say this to you. If there's a Sunday you should not be in church, it's not going to be next Sunday. I am very sure the man of God that is coming is one of my great mentors. I've known him for years. But I've known him before I know so many of us. And it has been a great blessing in my life. He took us talking and trying to make sure, because his schedule is tight, to make him to come. And he will be coming on Sunday to be talking to us on 3 John 2. He will talk to us on our financial prosperity. He's going to talk to us on our physical prosperity. That is our healthy living. And he's going to also talk to us on our spiritual prosperity. Now, you want to come and specifically invite people to come to church with you on that day. I expect you to come on time, and I am going to still speak to him during the week, how he will give us some few time after the service. In one or two persons we want to have audience with him, especially as it relates to your area of health or spiritual life or financial life. Maybe you can give some few minutes more to do some little counseling with us. Someone that can boldly tell you that God is going to use to be a great blessing to us. So coming Sunday is not a day you don't want to be in church. It's not a day you will not want to be proud to invite someone to church. Reverend Tony Akinyemi is the senior pastor of Shepherd's Flock International Nigeria. You could Google him and see all the great work that God is using this great man of God to do. It takes him, he's one of the people that even the five general overseer bring in to speak in ministers' meetings and whatsoever. So for us to be able to have him I know, it will come with some materials, especially in the area of elderly living, that you could take advantage of. I want us to prepare to hear from God. I will make sure that, let's come on time, because we will shorten some other activities so that we can give ample time to the word. So the word can start earlier than you expect. So some of us that have targeted where preaching begins, you will just come and you will see that we are already in the middle. Praise God, because we want to give ample time to the word. So this ambit that is given to you, you will be wrong and being in sin if you leave it on your chair. Take it out there, use it to invite people specifically, and make sure you follow them up and bring them to church. Will you do that? Please answer me, will you do that? The Lord will help you in the name of Jesus. I'd like us to be on our feet, everyone. Praise God. Now, we want to celebrate everyone that is in church for the first time. You are a guest in church today. You've not been here before, but God brought you here. Now, so everyone that is in that category, you will be the one that will be seated. If we see you seated, we'll come and greet you because we see you as a guest. So you will be the one that will be seated. All our guests that are in church for the first time, let's be seated. Then let's give you a warm welcome, a RCCG the up welcome. Let's welcome our people. God bless you.
Welcome to this house, a place where we believe in you. There's a fire in our heart. We've been waiting all this time, all year for you. We say welcome to the house of Apollo. Let's say. We say welcome to the house of Apollo. Let's say.
You are welcome to the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the house of unparalleled blessing. Can we clap for the Lord? Let's clap for the Lord. Now, this place, the grace of the Lord is set live. We thank God that God brought you here. And we want to ask and say to you that as we end the service, to my right hand at the back, our team will want to meet with you so that we receive you as part of us. We know the next time you will come, you will not be a guest. You'll have been part of us. Can we put our hands together for them one more time? Let's clap for the Lord. Let's clap for the Lord. Now, immediately after the service, Please, all workers and ministers, there's going to be a meeting. You didn't put that in the announcement. There's going to be a meeting, all workers and ministers. Please, it is important that we did not disobey to go. If you are planning to quickly rush out, reschedule your planning. The Lord will bless us in Jesus' name. I'd like you to hold on with somebody. You want to pray for that person. Hold on with somebody. Ask that person, I want to pray for you. And I know God will answer my prayer. What do you want me to say to God? So hear what the person wants you to say. Media. We have start saying those things he has said. God will answer your prayer. God will answer your prayer, so pray the prayer. Pray because you know God will answer. When we are praying, it's the time to pray. It's not the time to do other things. So shall it be in the name of Jesus. Now, look at that person you prayed for. Smile to that person. I prayed for you. And God have answered my prayer. You will come back with testimony. Now, congratulate that person. Congratulate that person. Hallelujah. Praise God. I said, praise God. Now, so we make our confession now. Please say after me in the name of Jesus. Every day and in every way, I am getting better and better. I'm getting stronger and stronger. You are speaking concerning your life. Make it clear. I'm getting stronger and stronger.
Getting strong and strong.
I'm getting wiser and wiser. I'm getting richer and richer. God is at work in my life. This year is my year of great joy.
It's my year of great joy.
And I am moving forward.
I am moving forward.
Now let's take our theme song. Let's take it together, every one of us. Listen.
We're ready. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, say. I'm not afraid of what the devil does. He brought my way. He brought my way. All praise and sin away. For the word of the Lord has always been my anchor. What's in all? I'm not afraid of
birthday to you. Happy